On each election day, polling stations will open for accreditation and voting from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. However, voters on the queue before the close of polls at 2 p.m. will be accredited and allowed to vote. On being authenticated, the voter will present himself or herself to APO2, who will request for his or her PVC. No person shall on the election day do any of the following in the polling environment, such as campaign for vote or persuade a voter not to vote for a candidate, shout slogans concerning the election or in support of any party, be in possession of an offensive weapon, or wear any apparel calculated to intimidate voters, use a vehicle bearing the color or symbol of a political party or candidate, loiter without lawful excuse after voting or being refused to vote, snatch or destroy any election materials, and blare sirens. Voters should note that phones are prohibited in the polling booth. Voters can report election offences to the INEC Situation Room on election day. The number to reach the Situation Room will be communicated to the public before election day. You can also download the My INEC app from the Google Play Store and report incidents to the Commission. The right of every Nigerian citizen are entrenched in Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A right is a moral or legal claim to have or get something or to behave in a particular way. It refers to the things or activities to which a Nigerian citizen is lawfully entitled without fear of persecution, discrimination, or any form of hindrance. Voters have the right to mark their ballot papers, make their choices in secret. Ideally, there are no rights without responsibilities. Responsibilities are those duties and activities which the citizens of a state are expected to be involved in to demonstrate their love, commitment, loyalty, patriotism, and selflessness to the nation. For a free and fair election to take place, it is important that voters should comply with all laws and regulations governing the electoral process so as to ensure peace and orderliness. Hence, it is the responsibility of the voter to conduct him or herself in an orderly manner before, during, and after the election, and encourage others to act in similar fashion. Towards this end, the voter is supposed to wait for his turn in the queue, obey the directives of electoral officials, and cast his or her vote peacefully. After casting the vote, voters should leave the polling zone to avoid unnecessary clustering, which may result in conflict. Grievances, if any, should be channeled through the appropriate quarters using the legal machinery put in place rather than resorting to illegal actions. In conclusion, voters should encourage others about the benefit of registering and voting during elections. This would help reduce apathy and ensure that a good number of voters participate in electing candidates into various elective positions.
You welcome back. Your duty, your role, your responsibility on election day. But again, apart from what the mini future has told us, our guest is ready to educate us the more on what we'll do so as to simplify it and make it easy for you, so that on election day it's just going to be a tea party. It's not a stress at all. When you cooperate with the electoral officers, it's going to be smooth rail. Mr. Ologu, how do we go on election day as a voter? What do I do?
Let's start by having a mindset of peace, because that is very important.
Good.
And of course, being proactive. So as much as possible, try to be on ground and be patient. You may have instances where INEC officials do not arrive on time.
Okay.
It doesn't give you a license to start fighting them. Then be vigilant, make sure you have your card, then be patient. Sometimes your accreditation may not fly and they want to accredit someone just to save time. Just make up your mind that whatever sacrifice you need to make on that day, you have to make it. And please, for those who don't have PVC, it's not the time to go to polling units and be disturbing.
Thank you, sir. Promote it, promote it, promote it. They have no business
that money
there.
You must get your PVC. No. Just let others be. After the elections, you can still get your PVC. I mean, it should be an ongoing exercise. And again, don't allow apathy. You know what I tell people? For those of us who drive in Lagos, many times we found ourselves driving for 4 hours in a journey of 20 minutes. But that has not stopped us from driving in Lagos.
No.
And I have never abandoned my vehicle on
So you're
Third
not
Milan
driving
Bridge
again.
angrily to say, oh, I'm tired of this traffic, and walk home. No, that vehicle must get home somehow.
And you too must get to your destination.
So my vote counts.
I like this your analysis, so.
Yes.
Honestly.
That is
You
life.
can't leave your car on the road.
No.
Or even if your child
vehicle-
is sick, you must take him to the hospital or take her to
Absolutely.
the hospital
That
and ensure
vehicle-
that.
And you know, life,
Eh.
the way God has designed life. I tell people, particularly when I go for marriage counseling, that the first problem recorded in the Bible was recorded against God's work.
Yes.
Genesis chapter 1, he created, and verse 2, darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Yes.
So the first problem was encountered by God himself.
Yes, darkness.
And in verse 3, what did he do? He solved the problem. He said, let there
Let
be light.
And there was light.
And he created light and separated light from darkness. You see, and gave light authority. So God never runs away from
problems.
And someone said jokingly, problems will never finish.
Like, yeah, it won't.
When you look at marriage, the problem of a young girl is, I need a young man to marry.
Yes.
So when you now marry that young man, you discover that he smokes, but
Don't
he
be
didn't let
excited.
you know. So problem upon problem.
You are
So
going to our jurisdiction.
Don't let us have apathy.
Yes.
Come out and vote until we get
The right
nation
on track.
We negotiate. A businessman said, you don't get what you deserve in life. You get what you negotiate. And how do you negotiate it now? By going out there to vote. If you say you are not concerned, in fact, those who will vote for wrong leaders are those who are not coming out to vote.
Yes. Yes.
You have the capacity, you have the facility to vote, and you are not voting. You are inactively voting
the wrong leader.
the wrong leaders. Because if you are confident and you are conscientious, you come out and exercise your right.
And to confirm what you just said, you know the number of people we have as voters in Nigeria registered by INEC? Can you compare that with the number of people who eventually vote? Can one call that a minority government or a majority government?
You know, and politicians understand that. So whether if you like, if 19 million are registered to vote and only 9 million come out, it will not nullify the election.
The election stands.
And we are also advising by extension, please, as much as it lies within your power, for those who go to clubs, please don't go to club on the Friday of
the election.
Saturday election. Please come out and vote. Then continue your
clubbing after the election.
In fact, fortunately, you may become born again on the election day so that you don't go back to club
again.
And for the born again, please do your night vigil before the
Friday
eve of the election or after, so that people can come out and vote. Because politicians and leaders will tell you it's dangerous to protest, it's unconstitutional in court, but the only time you have is you wait till you can vote again. And we are talking of 4 years.
Yes, and it's a long time
4
in a
years.
man's life.
A child born within 4 years is jumping around the house, throwing bottles and, and bread everywhere. So 4 years in the life of a nation. I mean, you can imagine, you know, what Nigeria has gone through in the last 8 years. So this is what we are saying. Please encourage yourself. And we are trying to inspire you now that if, you know, I was coming into Lagos from Abuja, and a man got angry in the aircraft about 10 minutes before we landed. And what happened? He turned to me and said he was holding a first-class ticket. And he was sitting in economy class. And I said, am I a air host?
How did he find himself there?
Talk to the air hostess.
What happened?
So
he does not know his status, or he does not know his
something
rights.
Was occupying his mind.
When he moved in.
He now sat in the economy. So if you bought a first-class ticket and you came to sit in economy, you have a problem.
Yes.
So if you have your PVC and you decide not to come and vote, you have a problem.
Big problem.
Big problem. So you are one of those contributing to the problems of this nation. Let's come out and vote. Anyone who does not make my vote count is in trouble. Yes. because you've taken a course upon yourself.
Now,
Let's start operating from that angle.
in that regard too, can you? I know that there are some people who are influencers who are discouraging people to vote. Can we speak to that?
You know,
Or let me give you a typical example. I've seen it happen on election day when people are running out to go and vote. Somebody will just tie a wrapper around his the waist. A man, for that matter, with one kind big twin stick. You people, una go one waste una time. What are you doing? And of course, somebody will just say, maybe someone inside the house struggling to quickly run out and go and vote will hear him say, that's true. Just sit down. Do we talk to start issue?
I can respond to that. And I have about 50,000 naira to give out. I have some questions here. Any of our viewers now that can respond in 10 seconds. You know, Moses sent 12 spies to Canaan.
Yes.
Mention 8 names out of the 12 spies in 10 seconds. I give you 50,000 naira.
Okay. They will test it to our number. Okay,
10
sir.
seconds.
Okay,
10
sir.
seconds. We're
1,
waiting.
2,
3.
3.
Oh, is a question for
4,
me?
5,
I want chop money.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No message.
Is that right?
It's a big lesson in life. 12 spies went to spy Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey. You know, 10 of them said they saw giants. Who do you expect to see in a land flowing with milk and honey? And they said they were like grasshoppers.
To them.
Can you imagine? But Joshua and Caleb, those are the only 2 names to remember,
Strength.
said no, we can take the land.
Inspiration.
And they went in. In life, there are influencers and there are the influenced. So if you are easily tossed around from the course of success, you are already a failure. In 1 Samuel 17, when David was going to fight Goliath, the king discouraged him. His brothers discouraged him. Circumstances discouraged him. Because for 40 days and 40 nights, this man has been harassing everybody. But he encouraged himself.
The one who has its
if you are still a human being, let's leave election aside, and you are still strongly influenced by people who want to hold you down in life, I pity you. And I say, wake up today. You are a man. You are created with your own mind. And God says, I have not given you the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. So, for those who wake up with your PVC and somebody somewhere who drank overnight is now telling me I'm going to waste my time. You know, so please, let's rise up. And if you have done a thorough study of successful people in life, there are people who are hardly negatively influenced. Are you talking about
focused
Noah who was building an ark for God?
Despite what these people were telling him, you are a madman. He said, don't worry.
You know, Abraham Lincoln contested for presidency for several political posts. You know, many times
people gave up on him.
The one who finalized electricity that we enjoy today, and said he didn't fail, that he only learned how not to. Even the present president of Nigeria, go and read his biography. How many times? At the time he wept, and he never gave up. And you have your PVC.
And you are now saying that you are
in fact, you should even graduate from holding PVC and joining politics from your ward level. That's what we are saying now. Get active.
We have some messages though.
Okay, let's read this way.
Let's read some messages.
Let's read the message.
Online stuff of INEC doesn't make voting free from manipulation. Rather, it might make it more simple, and it's done in the best interest of the politicians. They want to stop using talks and start using IT experts to ascertain power. Leadership failure is in the DNA of an average Nigerian. The best way to go about it is for parents to start grooming good leaders with a different mindset.
Yes, and it starts from him.
Yes, another asks, what happens to those restricted by religion? How do you understand? How do you mean by
no religious should not vote?
Yes, I don't think
because
so.
You are not voting, you'll be part of those problems. You again benefit from it, as our guest has just said. But time is not.
In case of religion, may I just ask this question? So, which religion is not affected by the inflation?
I don't know.
Right. Good point.
Maybe there is a special market for
religious bigots.
It's part of the enculturation. Every religion is subject to the economy. whether you like it or not.
Obviously.
So, if the total indebtedness of this country is about 42 trillion naira, does it have any religious coloration? Okay, are we now saying it's religion that is responsible for the oil theft that we have in this nation?
We have right now.
You know, so it you know, when you talk of religion, I can speak for Christianity. Daniel was like a politician.
Yes.
In Babylon.
Not
Joseph in Genesis chapter 41 became the prime minister of Egypt.
Yes.
That's a political office. You see, to do what? To manage the economy. And at that point in time, the whole world was in serious famine, and Egypt was secure. Transformational leadership.
And so that's what we need in Nigeria.
If your religion is stopping you, please, the elections are approaching. Go and do your study. Don't be lazy. Go and study, study. You know who you are. You know, and know that God in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28 has given you dominion.
Power to dominate.
It says replenish the earth, have dominion. So if you now go and keep that dominion, you go to Matthew 25, you are like the man giving talents that went to bury his buried. And do you know the irony of it? When the master came, the master collected
that one
and gave to the one who profited.
That has 5.
And we pray that you will profit during this election.
Amen.
By coming out to exercise it's your mandate.
Yes.
It's your mandate. So don't sell it off like Esau, you know, who sold his birthright for. And we are talking to vote buying now. Who sold his birthright for a plate of
yes,
porridge?
now that you went there, vote buying.
Yeah.
So one of the conduct of the voter is to sell votes.
Some are already selling. I know they will regret it. You sell your PVC, you are in trouble. Go and read about Esau and Jacob. Esau was the firstborn in the family. For a plate of porridge, he sold his birthright. And he wept bitterly to regain it.
So these sellers too, they want to sell their birthright.
It's the deepest level of poverty to sell your vote. It's the deepest level. You know, complicated poverty. You know, that means, you know what it means. You know, when we were in school, it was, I said that at the time, you are writing a law school exam, you may have an ambulance parked at the gate.
Yes,
because
it
wasn't
wasn't easy.
So at that point, I just now give up. But today, you walk, people sign checks for you, and they ask you, Jide, why am I paying you this money? I said, go to law school
if it's easy.
So if we messed up at that time, if we did not
no sure, you won't be, no way.
You know what I mean? So
some of our friends who looked for shortcuts
exactly.
they never passed.
You know, so please don't sell your vote. 4 years divided by 5,000 naira or 20,000 naira divided by 4 years. I mean, what is it? What is
votes, I don't think they can buy any vote for 20,000 apiece.
You know, I don't know how. I don't sell. I don't buy. So I don't know.
So